So first of all, I want to thank you, DD Maxwell 1024 and Enrico. Thank you for supporting me and my channel. I really appreciate the love, and I'll just sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. Yes, guys, welcome back on my channel, and welcome back to my most anticipated video on this channel. Today, I'm going to cover Duran against Barkley. Right off the bat, so this first round is going to be my most excessive study on a round one ever, maybe, because at least so far, both are doing a great job, and you see both just starting to kind of figure each other out, but both are pressure fighters, and I really have to replay something already. And that's Duran just started to counter Barkley's jab instantly, so let me just go back to that. So I'll do this in super slow-mo. Once Duran has his hand on the right side of his face, he's not having it in front of his jaw like the old school stance. He's doing that to invite the jab. He likes to slip to the inside of the jab. So he shows his chin. He's setting a trap there. He shows this. He slips to the inside and shoots an up jab. That's one of Duran's things to do, and he's gonna do this all over this fight, and that is a trap as well. So first he's setting a trap by placing his hand to the right side of his face. He's not doing that to proactively defend against the hook. Of course, he's also taking the hook away that way, but he's doing that to invite the jab. He wants to counter it with an inside slip up jab, and that's just such good head movement. I'm going to go back to that and put it in slow motion as well. So remember, everything you do in your defense can be a trap as well. You're figuring your opponent out, okay? That's what Duran does, and that's why he's using so much excessive head movement. It's not excessive, it's necessary. It's great stuff. So there he slips the first jab by bending at the waist. Even though the jab doesn't come, he still does it. Slips to the inside, weaves to the outside, bends at the waist again, and jumps out. That's great head movement. That bend at the waist that Duran does is super effective, especially if you smother in or jump out after. It's very hard to hit you that way. Off to the next great detail. Here you see Duran using a jab and then instantly slipping to the inside in case Barkley throws a jab back so he can counter it with an up jab. And now, in this next sequence, I'm just going to point out Duran's defense again. He's pulling the jab and then he's bending at the waist, keeping everything tight and compact. That bending at the waist and smothering in is basically taking away everything. And there you just see him just catching and countering. Duran is vicious. I shouldn't say this kind of shit. Oh, bro, I need to go back to that, bro. So I'll put this in super slow motion, and he goes down, feint a jab to the body, and then he throws an overhand over Barkley's counter jab or counter cross or whatever he's going to throw. Feinting low or jabbing low and then coming upstairs with an overhand is super effective against a taller fighter, bro. This is something you can really learn off Duran. That's some great stuff. Off to the next detail. So actually, what I was about to say, there you seen Duran slip to the inside and counter with a body shot. I want to say something, bro. I shouldn't say this kind of shit if I want to grow my channel, because this is going to trigger a lot of people. But Duran is the best 135 pounder ever, and there is no one that comes even remotely close to a prime Duran at 135. A vicious guy, really going to kill you if you're not careful. Like Duran at 135, fuck, you know, man, this is my favorite 135 pounder ever. Roberto, there it is again. Invite the jab by having the hand to the outside of your face. Inside slip up jab, there it is again. And then instantly pivoting out. Just such a great talent. There he slipped to the inside of Barkley's hook. I need to replay that again. As I said, bro, this is going to be the most excessive round one ever. I'm just going to replay that. Here, Duran sees Barkley throw a hook. So he slips to the inside of a hook and counters it with a lead liver shot and a rare hook to the head. That is such a good counter, bro. You don't see, bro, that's an elite counter. Slipping to the inside of your opponent's hook and then countering it with your own lead liver shot. Chaining it with a rare overhand or a hook. That's an elite counter. And now we're going to come back to the detail of round one. That Barkley is very lucky that this happened at the end of the round. He rocked Barkley here. So he slips to the inside the entire round. Now he decides to slip to the outside and counter it with an overhand. That's why the inside slip jab can be a trap for the overhand. There it is. I'm going to go back to it. Play in slow motion. Duran is a master at setting traps. He would slip to the inside and shoot a counter up jab the entire round. There he slips to the outside and shoots an overhand over it. And Barkley is a lucky dude, man. Because Duran, the best outside slip counter I've ever seen is by Roberto Duran. So that really rocked him. And you can see it by him holding onto the ropes after the round ends here. Off to round two. So with the round two still being early round, and Roberto Duran and both Barkley and Duran both trying to figure each other out. See how Duran reacts to every little thing that Barkley does, and vice versa. So they would really react to each other's feints. And as usual, they both use, so this is important to understand, they use that jab and their feints to see how their opponent reacts, okay? That's what they're doing. So this is a crucial information for this fight. I'm going to come back to this, but now I'm going to point out another great detail in this round. So as I said, using a jab and a feint to anticipate the opponent's punches. That's what he does here. That slip to the outside. He anticipated Barkley to throw a jab there. That's why he slipped to the outside to counter it with a body shot. I'm going to replay it again. This might not look like much, but here he uses a jab to trigger Barkley's punches. And now that slip to the outside. He anticipated him throwing a jab, and he wanted to counter it with a right hook to the body. That's what happened there. So that's the greatness. The greatness is in the detail. And now I'm going to go over the next good detail in round 2. Just pay close attention. Duran throws a jab and instantly slips to the inside. That's because he knows that he uses feints and jabs to understand Barkley, and he understands that Barkley likes to react with a jab. So he would use a jab and instantly slip to the inside because he anticipates Barkley's jab. And there is actually a great corner advice by Barkley's corner. So I think the 4th round it is, I'm going to come back. Just keep this in mind, okay? The inside and outside slip that Roberto Duran uses to counter Barkley's counter jab. And I know this is a lot. I'm going to come back to this. The corner actually gave him advice to adapt. And to counter that counter, this fight is a chess match, and it's been nominated Fight of the Year by The Ring for a great reason, for a good reason. It's a very solid technical fight, this is. So by the end of round 2, he really got Barkley's jab figured out. Inside slip, counter body shot. Now, timing it with a rare overhand. Off to round 3. So I really appreciate defense. So just look at how Duran effectively smothers Barkley's punches. So he would pull, bend at the waist, and then move in to just it doesn't matter what Barkley would have thrown there. He would have basically just avoided any punch with that defensive movement, and it's really effective. Now I'm going to cover a few great things that I noticed in round 3. So before I do that though, notice how at the start of the round, Duran really counters Barkley's jab with a jab, and then he starts mixing the counters up. So I'm going to come back to this now and just point out some more good details. Shooting a single mid-range jab is always bad, especially against Roberto Duran. Why would you leave your jab out there? But props to Barkley. He's coming back with his own counter jab there. That's a great thing. He got back against Duran, but yeah, Duran just shows great work and great stuff because he is eliminating the best punch in boxing effectively with I lost count. He's just countering Barkley's jab with many elite counter punches, and that's why it's so hard to adapt to Duran. It's so hard to time him because you don't know what he's gonna do. It's so hard to fight. It's so tricky to figure out. I'm gonna go over my next details. Now that we're speaking about this, here is another one. Slip to the outside, counter with a rare hook to the body. Because it's so effective, because Barkley is used to Duran throwing other punches. You know what I mean? So if you have someone that just keeps slipping your jab to the outside and shoot a rare hook to your body all the time, it's easy. It's really not hard to just adapt to it, okay? And just counter his counter. But because Duran he does so many things, that's why he's so great. That's why he's one of the greatest. His boxing ability is underappreciated. Barkley isn't bad though. Look at that. He figured out how to counter Duran's counter, so he's doubling up on the jab. Okay, that's what he's doing, and that's how he's beating Duran's inside and outside slip, by just adding another quick, sharp, stiff jab right after the first jab. That's a very good counter. So the 1-2 and the double jab is a very good counter to the pull and slip counter. Okay, that's just some side notes there. And I'm gonna come back to that. I'm gonna come back to the next round. So after this round 4, I want to speak about this in depth. Okay, I want to speak about this in detail. So off to round 4. So when he returned from the stool in this round, before he came back from the stool, his corner would tell Barkley, you need to double up on a strong jab and then move or throw a quick 1-2. That's what Barkley does now. Barkley listens to his corner. Now, this might seem like a very simple advice, right? It does. But here is the greatness. The double jab and the 1-2 is countering Duran's slip counter, and it's also countering the pull counter And that's why it's such good advice, because Duran is having great success slipping and countering Barkley's jabs. And the 1-2 and the double and the sharp double jab is countering the pull counter. Now Duran has to make adaptations, and now Duran has to adapt. And that was a low blow by Barkley. I'm not going to replay. It's fine. I'm just going to go back to the next good detail in this round. So here you just see, I will show this clip again without the text, but just read what happens here, bro. And just appreciate Duran's insane boxing ability, man. That jab, he only throws that because he understands Barkley is coming back with his own jab. He times it with an overhand, dips down to his lead side to avoid the counter. Now, that dip to the lead side after throwing the right overhand, that isn't a reaction to Barkley's punch. That is muscle memory developed through training and drilling it over and over again. He didn't see Barkley punch him at all. He just pulled off the move proactively. Okay, that's what happened there. I really can't stress this out enough because it's a crucial information for your defense. There is times where you react to your opponents, and there is times where you do. There is something in boxing called defensive responsibility. It's the way you move with your head or feet or both after you punch, and you do it all the time. You never do. Every time you punch, you need to be defensively responsible, okay? If you want to know how you do it, World Class Boxing channel on YouTube and www.worldclassboxinggym.com on the website of Coach Tom Yankello, okay? I'm not sponsored. I'm just trying to make you a better boxer here. So World Class Boxing channel on YouTube if you wonder how these great fighters develop this great muscle memory. Now off to the next good detail. And it was right there. I'm going to play back to it. So here you see Duran pivoting out, and then instantly keeping punching with the right hand, dipping down to his lead side again. So there's just another example of him. That's not a reaction to Barkley's punches. It's in his muscle memory. He's proactively dipping down to his lead side after big right hand punches to avoid the counter. Off to the next round. This is a great fight, bro. This is a highly technical fight. Let's go, off to round 5. I really believe it to be necessary to mention that Duran just does a great job as a smaller fighter. So this fight is just a great display of how a smaller fighter should fight the taller, more stronger fighter, right? So Duran really does a great job at keeping Barkley turning. So he uses lateral movement the entire time. He keeps him turning all the time. And that's just something I had to point out. He's been doing that. Look at it. He's using lateral movement. He's not letting Barkley settle down unless he's looking to trigger a counter with his jab. That's what Roberto Duran does. And now I'm going to point out some great details in round 5. In this clip, we see Roberto Duran show the high guard. So he's using the high guard here, but not because it's his choice of defense. It's because he is he's inviting Barkley to throw. And now he's inviting him even more by triggering his punches with his own jab. He predicts his jab and throws an overhand over it. Now that's the showcase of an elite counterpuncher. Off to round 6. Now you have to give Duran credit because he's 37, bro, and he's boxing the more sharper, more younger, just stronger Barkley on the outside. And he's also doing a great job of boxing him on the inside. And I just have a little detail that I want to point out. It's not just this one specific scenario. He's been doing it all the fight, okay? He's been doing it all the time. So he likes to throw his lead hook to the head as a gazelle punch. So I'm just going to point out one of the greatest details in this round, and then I'm going to come back to the gazelle hook. Pay specific attention to this feint. He's feinting here. He triggers his jab, pulls the jab, replies with a 1-2, and now he's chaining it with a hook, but he's turning it into a gazelle hook. Proactively weaves to his left or dips down while throwing a body shot, which is just great inside fighting. I just want to show this whole clip again, just so you can see it again. So he feints a jab to trigger Barkley's jab. He replies to it with a 1-2, and then he chains it with a gazelle hook, dips down proactively to his lead side while throwing a body shot. Elite infighting. Duran is using the punch that Ryan Garcia beat Haney with. He times Barkley's jab and shoots a hook simultaneously, a big lead hook. So this already happened multiple times, but I just want to point it out. He is parrying Barkley's jab and shoots his own jab simultaneously. even though it just fell short just because Barkley is so much taller and has more reach. But it's a great counter, just catching your opponent's jab with your right hand and then instantly shooting your jab simultaneously with his jab. Now, one last thing that I want to speak about before I continue with round 7 is Duran really likes to pull and then bend at the waist, just in between combinations or just after combinations, even proactively. Roberto Duran really relies on one of the best defenses in all of boxing, bending at the waist. It's underrated. If done properly, it basically just takes away everything. You can't be hit. It's a great defense. Listen, bro, everything has a counter. You can be hit, but it's just great defense. That's all I want to say. Now off to round 7. So now the later rounds have started, and I want you to pay attention. He throws a hook, and now he bends at the waist and smothers in, okay? So that's one of the two things Duran likes to do. So he proactively bends at the waist, he throws the hook, now he bends at the waist, and he smothers in. I've shown you that he likes to move out and jump out after bending at the waist. But there he smothered in, so those are two valid options. Be defensively responsible. If you throw big punches, or if you want to defend against big punches, bending at the waist and then moving out and then circling out, or just smothering in and learning how to clinch and learning how to place your head outside your opponent's shoulder, that's great inside fighting. So that's what you can really learn of Duran as well. Now off to the next good detail in round 7. Look at Barkley placing 2 good lead hooks here. He places 2 good hooks and Duran still keeps on doing his thing and keeps on fighting and keeps on being sharp and effective with his offense and his defense. So it's just, Duran had a good chin, man. He had a good chin. Now right off to the next good detail this round. Back to the worst mistake in boxing, single mid-range jab. And Duran really punished him for that. Now off to round 8. Duran starts round 8 by feinting and then beautifully countering him with an inside slip jab. So that's just one of the things that I really learned off of Duran myself. So just people say don't slip to the inside, you're vulnerable to the right cross. If you can time his jab, and your slip jab is going to beat his cross. Because the jab is the best punch in boxing. And you can just see how well it works for Duran. So if people tell you don't slip to the inside, if you get the feeling that you can trigger your opponent's jab with your jab, or you can time his jab, your inside slip up jab should beat his right cross, okay? So that's just something that you can learn off Duran. And now next, oh, there it is. I need to replay that in slow motion. There it was. What Barkley does is good defense against the right hand. So he's smothering it, okay? He's bending at the waist and smothering in. Then he's kind of weaving, loading up on a big hook, and hits a big hook on Duran. But that's just another showcase of Duran having a good chin. So if you just catch the jab and smother the overhand or the right cross, that's a great way to deal with it. And then, as you saw, he kind of weaved to load up a big hook, and then he just shot a hook on the inside. It worked for him. It worked very well. Almost put Duran on the floor, but he just had a great chin. Now, here is a detail that people speak about very rarely. So look at Duran's head placement here. Yes, just look at the way how he places his head on Barkley's pec. From there, he's able to place a great uppercut. So if you watch my video, Kawi against Holyfield, that is a lost art. Duran is a great inside fighter, okay? So he figured out a way to place his head outside the opponent's shoulder. That's the lead shoulder if he's fighting an orthodox fighter, or just on the opponent's pec. And that is a position where his head is relatively safe from the majority of so he can't get hit with straight punches at all. It's very difficult to place hooks. The only punch that's really an option is uppercuts. And in case I was stuttering a bit, I just came from the dentist. I'm still a bit numb in my mouth. So I said it again. The only punch that you're really open for is the uppercut and body shots. But there is great counter to uppercuts and body shots. And I'm going to come back to this after pointing out the next good detail in this round. Here, Duran throws jabs to open up a liver shot. So there it is. He throws jabs and an uppercut. And now just appreciate that defensive responsibility. Barkley counters Duran's liver shot. I kind of want to just replay the whole thing again. So here Duran opens up the liver shot. He sets it up with throwing jabs and uppercuts. There it is. And there he just instantly weaves some of the counter hook. The counter hook, like the check hook, is a great counter. If your opponent tries to shoot liver shots at you, just checking it with a lead hook is a great counter. Don't even throw it around the guard. Just throw it down the pipe. That's why it's such a good counter. The angle that he's in when he's throwing the liver shot is just, he's so open for that check hook. Duran, smart as he is, he knows that. And now off to round 9 and off to a well-placed overhand. Duran gets the timing of the jab down, places an overhand over the jab. It is not vulnerable to the counter cross. If you time the jab and you throw the overhand simultaneously, it would be weak if he feints the jab and then beats your overhand with a cross. It's chess. That's the sweet sides, baby. I love it. But it's just a well-placed counter by Duran. He's just he's figured out Barkley very early on, and now he's just taking his jab away effectively. And he's the shorter fighter. It's so nice. It's so nice. People, bro, I love this video. So people will tell you that that I need to replay that, but I need to speak about this first. So people will tell you the shorter fighter can't rely on the jab too much against the taller fighter. That's ridiculous. Just look at Duran. He is destroying Barkley's jab with all kinds of counters. He has shown at least 5 great solid counters to Barkley's jab. And now back to what I was looking at. So this has been working great for Duran. The whole fight gets clipped and instantly bends at the waist, gets out the line of fire, has his hand at the side of his face to proactively take away the hook. And why did I replay this, even though I figured that I just pointed it out so many times this video? There is coaches that told me you shouldn't bend at the waist when weaving or just when defending against punches. That is misinformation. So Roberto Duran has great success. I can list a variety of Hall of Fame fighters that had bending at their waist before and after throwing combinations, and especially when defending against punches, in their basic muscle memory. Bending at the waist to evade punches is necessary. It's great defense. Back to the topic, inside slipping. Duran slips to the inside, counters his jab with a body shot and with a cross. Great combination, great counter. I really like to throw it myself. I like to practice it a lot as well. So what he does there, and this is the trap that he's setting, he is mixing up throwing inside slip jabs and inside slip body shots. And now off to round 10. This is a great round. Appreciate the defense, bro. He's pulling the jab, bending at the waist, going back up to avoid the uppercut, and then weaving under the lead. Oh man, I'm mixing up my words. I'm getting that. Pulling the jab, proactively bending at the waist, goes back, straightens himself back up to avoid the uppercut, and then weaves under the hook. That's such great inside fighting, man. And now I'm going to point out some good offensive stuff that he does here. He's setting up his outside slip counter, uses the jab to trigger Barkley's jab, slips to the outside of it, and counters it with a body shot. And Duran noticed that Barkley's head is relatively open because Barkley is trying to guard the body proactively. And look at how he instantly went for his head there with lead right hands. So Duran is just such a smart mastermind. Now back to the topic with bending at the waist. Look at how he proactively dips down to his lead side after his right overhand or right slip cross or cross, whatever you want to call it. I'm just gonna play it again so you can see it. So Duran throws the right hand, and then he dips down to his lead side. That is not a reaction. He has that in his muscle memory. He does that. It's called defensive responsibility. And Duran really had great defensive responsibility, way more than people give him credit for. His defense is... I hope I can really show you that and point that out with this analysis, because his proactive defense or his defensive responsibility was second to none. He is a great defensive artist. So now you can see Duran really countering the counter. So he's touching him with his jab to just trigger a response. He is weaving under the overhand while throwing a body shot, and then he comes back with a lead hook to the head, and he even doubles that up. So that's just great stuff. That's elite inside fighting. Off to round 11. Just look how he instantly comes out the corner throwing an overhand, bro. He wants to finish this. Good defense here by both fighters. Pulls the uppercut and counters with a jab. But Barkley is good enough to just pull and weave. Pulling and weaving or pulling and bending at the waist, great defense. Now off to the next good detail in round 11. There is a big one coming up. There it is again. Pulling and then bending at the waist. So I'm just pointing that out to really make people understand. I hear it all the time, okay? I hear it all the time. People will really teach bending at the waist when weaving or just when avoiding punches is not a good fundamental thing to do. Of course it is. It's great. I'm just pointing out many defensive things that both fighters do as well, because boxing is about getting your shots off without getting hit much. And now that we're at it, look at Duran. He throws a jab and bends at the waist proactively. And then there is people trying to tell me it's not a good thing to do. It's ridiculous to me. You see bro, I can come up with a variety of different all-time great fighters. They all had it in their muscle memory. They would do it proactively without even having a reason. They wouldn't even react to a shot. They would just do it because they know they are safe when they're doing it. So bending at, I don't know what... If you have a different opinion than mine, it's fine, okay? I respect it. But my opinion is that I have the blueprint to boxing right in front of me. It's right here. It's Roberto Duran. It's maybe the best 135-pounder ever, and he does it. So now you give me a solid reason why it wouldn't work. Actually, if you think bending at the waist is bad, don't even try to justify it. I'll just respect it, and let's just go to the next good detail in this round. I promise I won't mention it again, but there, he just done it again. And it's not just Roberto Duran. It's, as I said, I can come up with, with numerous... Let's just stop here. I'll just stop it here and react to that great knockdown. That's Roberto. Just, bro, look at him. Look at him. Look at him finishing what he starts, man. There you see it from a different angle, bro. You just gotta love this guy. Just look at that vicious right hand dipping to the lead side and then coming back with a hook and another right hand. That's just technical brilliance. That's technical brilliance, mate. He is going down to his lead side after throwing a right hand to take away Barkley's right hand. Then he's coming up with a loaded up lead hook and he finishes it with a right cross. That's exactly what I'm speaking about. That's great stuff. That's such great stuff. Man, you gotta love watching Roberto Duran. He's just such an offensive and defensive wizard. Man. Let's just go over the next great details in round 12. Before we do that, and I swear that I'm not laughing at Barkley, okay? But look at him, he doesn't even find his corner. Bro, Roberto Duran has to be mentioned when you're speaking about just raw physical ability. Roberto Duran is a beast, bro. He is a beast, bro. He's a single beast, bro. Man. And he's 37 here. And I'm not laughing at Barkley there for not finding his corner. It's a human thing. I would have probably went to sleep there. So if anything, I'm giving Barkley props for continuing the fight. And now off to the next good detail. Man, I swear down, I love watching this guy. He pulls the jab, smothers, and then he uses an old school art of bobbing and weaving. And he is throwing a rare body shot he goes down, throws a rare body shot, and comes back with a lead hook. Brilliance. Offensive brilliance. Off to the next great detail. Now I want to go over this counter. Slip to the inside, body shot, rare hand to the head. So he's been that lead hook. So he's been doing this. Slip to the inside, rare body shot, lead body shot counter, rare hook to the head. And he's been doing this ever since round 1. He's been doing this ever since round 1. And Barkley's corner, they found ways to adapt to it. But Roberto Duran just has the timing to really just land the body shot right after he throws the jab. So he kind of anticipates Barkley's jab, slips to the inside, shoots a body shot, and then instantly follows it up with a hard right hand to the head. Sometimes it lands as a hook, sometimes it lands as an overhand, sometimes it lands as a cross. Just a straight punch. It's depending on how... There is no perfect way of doing it. The way of doing it is slipping to the inside with the right body mechanics, executing the lead hook to the body with the right body mechanics, and then throwing the rear hand to the head with the right body mechanics. And if you wonder, why is this guy speaking about body mechanics so much? It's important, okay? And if you want to know how to do it, World Class Boxing channel on YouTube, Tommy and Callow, he's going to explain body and punching mechanics the right way. Here is a good showcase of Duran having great ring IQ. So I'm just going to show this clip to you again. Duran feels like he's getting beat, so he decides not to throw the right hand, but instead just dip to his lead side to avoid Barkley's right hand. Then he also just weaves under the lead hook of Barkley. And my bad for the background noises, just drunk people, bruh. But yeah, man, that's already it, bro. That's already it for this video. And bro, that was a good fight. I really enjoyed just making this film study and just spending time watching Duran and just watching him being insane at boxing, defensively and offensively. And now we're gonna go over the decision of this fight. After the decision, one of the judges scored it 116 to 113 for Barkley, which is outrageous and ridiculous. One of the judges scored it 118 to 112 for Duran, and one of the judges, the third one, scored it 116 to 112, which made Duran win the fight. Alright, now we made it through the video, I hope you enjoyed the video. Any feedback is appreciated. If you think I'll suck, just let me know why. If you think I've done a good job, just tell me in the comments, honestly. And as I said, any feedback is greatly appreciated. I will come up with a video of just a poll, and you can decide what film study I'm gonna do next. So I'm letting you guys decide what fight I'm analyzing next. It needs to be a fight that has been on YouTube for 5 years or longer. Otherwise, I'm getting issues with the copyright and shit. So, as I said, if you enjoy spending time on my channel, just let me know. Give me some feedback. As usual, I wish you all the best, man. Bless up, and see you the next time. Bless up.